Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to stand on existing protocols. I can see our royal father has taken an exit. I would have loved to greet him specially. Okay, so we'll be talking about building financial capacity to drive grassroots development. I'll start by, a song came to my mind, and I would like to sing it. It's a song by Heavy D and the Boys, Now That We Found Love. What are we gonna do with it? I'm sure we all know that song. At least a good number of us know that song. Okay, so some days ago, I attended an event, and as I was driving out, the security man opened the gate and then walked up to me and said, "Baba, show me love." And I was wondering, like, really? How do I show the security man love? And the person beside me just tapped me. Said, find him something, find him something. I said, oh, that's how to show love. And I dipped my hand into my pocket, brought out what he was expecting, and boom, love was. Next slide, please. So, at the end of my presentation, you will understand why I am talking about show me love. Okay, so one of the things that comes to people's mind these days when we talk about local government is the fact that autonomy has been, quote unquote, granted financially. So people tend to tell themselves that, okay, there should be a lot more money available to the local government administration now. Hence, I would say that there is a lot of expectation from the populace. And then another thing is the fact that people begin to ask more questions. What is the money being used for? What is the money being used for? So we will need to tell ourselves what is the benefit or the purpose of resource. So I'll say this, that resources are meant to achieve goals, satisfy needs, and also to provide support. So in the light of, quote unquote, increased funding, it means that the electorate is looking towards the local government administration for what? Support, increased support, to achieve better goals, and also to satisfy the needs. Now, we move forward. So how is the local government supposed to utilize the so-called funds that is now available to them? So I'll be talking on the few things that you can do as a local government administrator with what is available to you resource-wise to impact your people. So that by the time you are taking a bow from office, it will be said that Michael was once a local government chairman, and this is what he did. That is what he did. So if you are here and you are looking at office, please listen carefully. One of the things that you should have at the back of your mind is IGR. We use money to look for money, right? And that's one of the things I picked up when we were being told about the impact and influence of tech. So the thing is, there's this belief that the local government, there's no money, there's no money, there's no money. But I want to disabuse your mind. I will tell you that arguably 58 to 65% of Nigeria's GDP is what? Is linked to the informal economy. Who do we refer to as the informal economy? These are people who are doing business and are unregistered. those people that are doing business, trading, yet they are unregistered. If 65% of your GDP can be attributed to the informal economy, then it tells you that the local government, which is closest to the grassroots, which is closest to the informal economy, has the potential of making revenue of this 65%. But the question is, are we making the revenue? If really, where is the revenue? So you need to look at that and ask yourself, the potential may be there, but you are not using it. Let's move on. Next slide. So your ability to collect revenue and collect it well as a local government administrator will speak to how well IGR comes your way. Now, next slide please. We'll be looking also at the area of agriculture. And I always say something, that as a local government administrator, the way you think should differ from the way a state administrator will think. Why? Because you are closest to the people, and the impact that is meant to be felt is supposed to be more personal. Now, let's look at agricultural development and environmental sustainability. Some time back, I paid a visit to Ogun State, and there's an organization called IDIPR. It's an Ijebu initiative towards, okay, those that know them, they are already the Ijebus in the house. Well done, well done. So, but I must tell them well done, because I realized that that organization was able to do a turnover of 5.9 billion, almost 6 billion, from an agricultural village. What do you have in that agricultural village? Livestock, fishery, poultry, rubber. And it may interest you to note that the catfish accounted for 4 billion out of that 5. So it lets you know that if you can fund these people, if you can create the enabling environment. So what did IDIPR do? They just went to tell the government that, please, give us land. We are not the owner, it's your land, but allocate it to us. That's what our local government should be doing, providing this for the people. So the farmers go there and they apportion to them, and you can see how much they were able to do it economically, 5.9 billion. So now ask yourself, if every local government in Nigeria is doing that, what do you think they will contribute to the GDP of Nigeria? Food for thought. Another thing we should look at is recycling. Do you realize that when somebody is pushing a cart or carrying a sack, you look at the person criminally as he's passing by your car or passing in front of your street? You look at him criminally. Let me say it in local parlance. That's the mindset. But if I tell you that that person you are looking at is in the value chain of a thriving economy, do you realize that these days, in the last how many months, it's difficult for you to see PET bottles on the floor up and down again? How many of you have taken notice? I jog every morning 6:30, and I realized that as at that time that I am taking my routine, the people are sweeping on the streets. I don't see them sweep any PET bottle. No. The question is why? Why? Because people have picked it off the streets because of the commercial value. As a local government administrator, I realize that we look at those people and we see them as they are a nuisance. You can convert them to your use and you will be shocked at the revenue that will come out of that industry. The waste industry, the recycling industry. And let me tell you, all these processes can be supported by tech. I don't know if you've heard of recyclers, but I provide them payment facility. So you see all these people you see carrying sacks and wheelbarrows and everything, they get paid into an account, and guess what? It's a scan account, it's a QR account. The account is a standard account. Do you realize that the average aboki you see on the road, if he doesn't have anything in his life, he has an NIN and he has a voter's card? How many of us know that? Do you realize that those people in the north are more politically aware than those of us down south? So it's not difficult to even open an account for them. So what we do is we open them an account just using their NIN, and they go with a QR card. They go to any agent, they tap and they collect their money and they are off. Let's move on. What else can you look at as a local government administrator? Empowerment and donations. They always say that to whom much is given, much is expected. So if you are giving some form of empowerment, there is an expectation from you. Now, apprenticeship and skill acquisition is one area that I believe governments should look at, local governments. We all know the Cosmas Maduka, we know the Innocents and the rest of them. Do we realize that they started out without formal education? They started out trading. And along the line, what stands them out today is the fact that they were able to formalize their education along the line. And today you see Cosmas Maduka is the owner of Coscaris. Everybody knows Coscaris. If you drive a BMW and you don't know him, then your BMW must be a fake. Innocent is there. Putin is the first indigenous car manufacturer. We've had Peugeot in the past, we've had Volkswagen in the past. They were not indigenous, but this is indigenous. And I know we now have Nord that came after him. So what am I saying? The fact that these men were able to formalize their education, you can see the impact on the economy. If you are not able to educate people, people will live little. Imagine if Cosmas Maduka was not able to formalize his education, would he have the Coscaris group he has today? He will probably have a very good business, doing very well, but you will not have what you have today. And the same thing goes to Innocent. Let me rush. Donations and grants. One of the things that shocked me was the fact that when I went to Eriwe and I saw the agricultural village, I discovered that apart from the close to 1 billion that was raised within Ijebuland, the major contributor is the Abudali of Ijebuland. Apart from that money, I discovered that there were grants that were coming in from outside the country because they had seen the impact. If you don't go out, you wouldn't see. If you don't see, you will not be motivated to do. People came from outside the country, they have seen what is being done, and they decided to support. As an administrator of a local government, if your good work is seen, you will be shocked at the support you will get from the private sector and also internationally, within and without. Let's move forward. So I'll be talking on a framework that I believe that every local government administration should have at the back of his mind. It is not rocket science. We all know of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow says that the most important thing to an individual is survival, psychological needs, physiological needs, food, water, shelter. When those things are solved, he moves to the next level, safety needs. He begins to think of job safety, security, financial security, physical security. So the person that was willing to do anything before just to get food and shelter, right now begins to say, I can't take this bus. I can't take a truck to Lagos. I would rather take a bus. Why? Because there's now money. He has moved away from survival and the rest. Now, as a local government administrator, you should have it at the back of your mind that the people at 1, 2, and 3, physiological needs, safety needs, and social needs, should be your target. And interestingly, you will realize that these are the people who also come out to vote. Do you realize, election day, we always have those people living in Lekki, those people living in Ikeja, we are on Twitter, we are tweeting, we are roasting barbecue, whereas those in Alimosho, they are out there doing what? Doing the voting. So what does that tell you? Take care of the grassroots, and you wouldn't have headache coming back again. Now, the limitations to effective financial mobilization and the solutions. The first thing is political interference, godfatherism. You can take care of that by political maturity. The next thing is weak enforcement of revenue collection. You need to rely on the law. If you look very closely, you will find out that most of the people who enforce collections at the local government go about it the unlawful way. So we need to begin to pattern ourselves rightly. We will also realize that low capacity, human capacity. Most of the people of the local governments do not have adequate staff to carry out the vision that they have in mind. Bear in mind, one very important thing, or some very important things that we need to do as a nation is 1, data, 2, planning, short-term and long-term, and 3, budgeting. Last one is accountability. If we have these 4 things as a local government administrator, I can guarantee you that people will always come for you over and over again. The last thing I'll talk about is people believe that because at the grassroots level, most of the things there are informal. So it's difficult to get revenue, it's difficult to coordinate, to regulate. Technology will do that for you. So at this point, I have said what I believe we need to know as administrators. So that takes me back to my story at the beginning, the song I was singing. While as an individual, your ability to show love is by bringing out money. As a local government administrator who has people under him or her, your ability to show love is by you providing infrastructure for them. The most important thing you can do is to solve the unemployment problem in your local government. Thank you very much. As I leave with the last point, Taba Guyon sinu ewe, ta sebe sinu epo epa. Eni mayo, ayo. Thank you very much. If you don't know the meaning, Google it.